Hi everyone, today I'm going to be sharing with you how I got into Parsons AAS in fashion design, including with a $10,000 scholarship. Please note that this video is about the Associate of Applied Sciences, or AAS, fashion design program, which is a 2-year program for people who already have some college experience. It is not the same as the BFA program, which is a 4-year program for people who are graduating from high school and don't have any post-secondary education. The admissions requirements are quite different, so please go check out a video for that specific program if that's your situation. Alright, I'm going to start with the components of the application process for the Fashion Design AAS. These are current as of the time of recording, which is April 26, 2023. If you're watching at a different time, the requirements might be different now. First, you have to complete their online application, which asks things like your name, where you live, whether you're a US citizen or permanent resident or not, where you went to high school and college, etc. This is the place where you upload your transcripts for any post-secondary and secondary education you've completed. There's an application fee of $50, which you pay at the end. Next is the statement of intent. I'll paraphrase here. Tell us about your future self. Where are you? What are you doing? What are you innovating? How are you affecting change? How does the new school fit into your journey towards this future? So here's what I wrote for my personal statement. I'll read it to you. One of the things that I like most about myself is that I care about climate change a lot. I also care very deeply about other people. Issues like war, housing insecurity, and domestic violence upset me a lot. I used to think that my calling in life was to address these types of systemic problems through policy, and so I went to university, got a bachelor's degree in economics and political science, and began working for Employer X. I'm saying Employer X because I don't want to give too many personal details out on the internet. You know, identity fraud is real, but yeah. Working for Employer X made me deeply cynical, and I felt like something was missing from my life. I also realized that I had a hero complex. For many years, I had been operating under the unconscious principle that if I wasn't saving people or the planet, then I was wasting my life. In addition to possibly having roots in white supremacist and colonial values, this complex left me feeling creatively unfulfilled. Somewhere over the course of my life, I had subconsciously told myself that working in fashion was frivolous, unviable, and incompatible with the hero complex I had saddled myself with. Thus, I have decided that in future, I don't want to be a hero, I don't want to affect change for its own sake, I want to be a fashion designer. And while fashion design can obviously be a vehicle to affect change, that's not why I want to do it. I want to create beautiful, technically elaborate garments just for the sheer joy of it. I want to create designs that are boundary-pushing and a bit strange, that the average person might indeed find frivolous, but that fashion critics on YouTube appreciate for their absurdity and wit. Shout out to Hot Lamode. I'm obsessed with his videos. And where better to develop the technical skills to achieve these dreams than Parsons and the New School, where students and alumni are known for thinking outside the box and pushing the boundaries of the fashion industry. While many fashion schools emphasize, in my opinion anyway, employability and commerciality as part of their brand images, I find that Parsons is one of the few to retain an image of outside-the-box thinking and, frankly, a sense of magic that drew me to fashion in the first place. Despite what I said about making beautiful designs for their own sake, my values will always follow me and form what I design. I am deeply disturbed by violence against all women, including trans women and indigenous women who experience disproportionate rates of violence, and I would love to create a violence-repelling collection of designs that contain spikes, electrical wires, or other elements designed to cause physical pain to anyone with malicious intentions if they get too close to the wearer. I also care about the environment and would love to experiment with innovative textiles that can biodegrade, have a low or negative carbon footprint, and that are not resource intensive to produce. This is another reason why I'm interested in studying at Parsons, given the prominence of textile education within the fashion design curriculum. In conclusion, my goal is to become an innovative fashion designer who produces beautiful designs that push the boundaries of the industry. While my passion for addressing systemic problems will always follow me, I ultimately want to create designs that bring joy and delight to others. That said, I believe that fashion can be a vehicle for change, and I'm particularly interested in experimenting with innovative textiles that have a low carbon footprint and creating designs that protect individuals from violence. The New School offers an exceptional environment for me to develop the technical skills necessary to achieve these dreams while fostering outside-the-box thinking and pushing boundaries. By attending Parsons, I am confident that I will be equipped with the knowledge, skills, and creativity necessary to make my vision for my future self a reality. So as you can see, my personal statement had a lot of different ideas in it that don't necessarily relate to fashion, violence against women, for instance, and climate change and the environment. And I think Personally, what makes a really compelling personal statement is having all these kind of disparate ideas that don't necessarily relate to each other, and then bringing them all in so that there is a common theme that emerges. I think a statement like that weaves together potentially disparate topics is a lot more interesting for the reader than something that's just like, ever since I was little, I've loved clothes, I love going shopping with my mom, I love making pretty things. Like, go deeper. What else do you like doing? And how can those things relate to fashion? What are your values? Maybe something about your mom actually is really relevant and there is something about your mom's life or legacy that really inspires you. So talk about that, but not just like, oh, I have a passion for fashion and Parsons is the best fashion school, so I want to study there. Like, that's kind of boring. All right, so next is the creative assignment. For fashion design, you have to create a collage that defines the lifestyle of the kind of person for whom you'd like to design. Use images taken from paper magazines only and pay attention to color, textures, and other basic elements. We will no longer accept Photoshop digital collages with images taken from the internet. Provide a brief summary to convey your ideas. So here is my collage, and I will read the summary that I wrote about it. The lifestyle that I've represented in my collage is that of a person who intervenes in situations of violence. 2 forms of violence inspired this collage. The first is the violence enacted by the Canadian state and corporations on Indigenous nations who resist resource extraction projects on their lands. Not only are these projects often violent towards the land and the water, the climate, and the livelihoods of Indigenous peoples, but the land defenders who resist them are often brutalized by police for their resistance. The second situation is violence against women in general, which is a global phenomenon. In both situations, it seems to me that violence needs to be physically interrupted in order to be stopped, whether that's protesting structural violence or literally intervening if someone is being attacked. In my design process, I hope to explore how clothing can empower people to intervene in violent situations by incorporating technical fabrics and other elements that make them a little bit safer. I included spikes, studs, and a knife in my collage to symbolize the need for protection for people who face violence, even though such design elements would not necessarily be practical in real life. I also included earth-related imagery, such as blue-gray rocks. In the bottom right, that was actually eyeshadow from a magazine. It's not actually rocks, but like I cut it out so that you can't see that it's eyeshadow. So yeah, earth-related imagery, such as the blue-gray rocks at the bottom right and the hands holding plant material at the top right to emphasize that violence can also occur against the environment. Finally, I included imagery of eyes here and here because they represent awareness and the need for vigilance in recognizing and responding to violence. I chose to really think outside the box for my collage. I didn't want to be that person who's like, the person I want to design for is a rich, stylish woman who lives in Paris. Even if that is who you ultimately want to design for, I would say that Parsons is known more so than other schools for being like avant-garde and really conceptual. And I think they view themselves as being really a boundary-pushing school, like aesthetically, technically, etc. So anything you can do to prove that you have really original ideas is most likely going to help you. In terms of actually making the collage, I definitely made sure to come up with a general color scheme before starting to look for photos and cut them out so that I didn't end up with a bunch of random photos in a bunch of colors that didn't go together. As you can see, I didn't like 100% follow the original color scheme, but I still think I have a pretty like good cohesive mix of like blues and greens, beiges and browns, and black. I did have a bit of difficulty finding images from magazines for my collage because it is a very niche subject. I bought Vanity Fair, where I got the awesome shot of Lizzo wearing spikes. And then I also got a magazine, I think it was called like Prepper or something, which is for like people who want to prepare to survive natural disasters. So you may want to consider going outside the realm of fashion magazines in order to find really unique images for your collage. So that's really all the creative stuff that needs to be submitted for your application. You do need to submit a few other things like a resume and your official transcripts from secondary and post-secondary institutions. They do waive the like high school transcript if you have a degree already or if you have a certain number of credits. So check that out first. For the resume, I just used like a basic template from Microsoft Word, and then for my transcripts from university, I just followed the university's like process. They use a third-party system, in the case of my old university, to generate a link that you can then share, which I sent to enroll@newschool.edu, and that worked fine. They got it, all good. Overall, I was pretty impressed with how smooth the application process was and how responsive admissions staff were to my questions. And I heard back pretty quickly too. I think I applied March 31st, which was like the day before the deadline, and I heard back on April 21st that I got accepted, so it was less than a month. They also offered me very generously a $10,000 a year scholarship, which I did not apply for. They just offered that to me, so that's nice. Unfortunately, tuition is over $27,000 per semester, which frankly I find completely abhorrent, so I don't actually think I'll be going because I can't afford that. Anyway, I hope this video gave you some advice and inspiration for applying to the Fashion Design AAS at Parsons. If this video helped you, please like and subscribe, and thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.